Hello, everyone. I'm Robbie Stokes with Lifeline RX Solutions, and it is a pleasure to be here. Brad, I want to thank Brad and Karen and Carol for introducing me to Brad. We have talked a bunch, and it has just been delightful to talk to like-minded, caring people that love to see pharmacies, independent pharmacies succeed. Um, I must do a little housekeeping. I am at my home office today and my residence, if you will. We have a state tree called the loblolly pine, and this is our second day of being in the 80-degree weather. And so it's showing its fury with this yellow-green pollen. And if you see me dabble my nose, that's the result of that pollen. I also have a dog that rules the roost, and I will try to keep him intact. So without going any further with that, let's talk about what I come here to talk about. I was watching Arnold Palmer son do a segment on him, and everybody was listening to the son, but in the background was this profound quote: "The road to success is always under construction." Who can relate? I can. Always have, and it will always be. So with that said, you wouldn't think so by looking at this guy right here. How many of us have assumed this position in their life at their pharmacy, in the back room, and we all can relate. I've been there numerous of times with the screen in the background and the graph looking the very same way. So you've heard Brad say that my wife and I had a pharmacy. So in 2017, my son, my wife and I, we sit down and we said, okay, we need to start doing something about something we can do something about. Say that 5 times. So what we did is we started diving in to things that we could do something about. And with that said, that's what I'm here to do today. We took our pharmacy from 17.9%, and within a year, I was at 24.1%. So what I had done is got my pharmacy to a point that it needed to be. We always want more, but 24.7% is pretty darn good. So we got it, and I'm 62 years old, got it to be a good looking, profitable pharmacy, and we sold. And so she's coordinator for several pharmacies, and I started this company, and I'm going to be transparent with you and let you know why I started this company. I started this company because I did not want another pharmacy to have to go through the things that I went through in my life, that I would do everything I could to keep another pharmacy going through that. So let's get this guy off the desk and figure out how he got there and how we need to get him off. Chains and PBMs are thriving as independents face diminishing profit levels caused by pricing formulas that fail to protect margins against cost changes. Now let's stop right there. Pricing formulas. So we all got our pharmacy management system, regardless if you've had it a year, if you've had it 5 years, or you've had it the entire time you've owned your pharmacy. We got it installed in our pharmacy. We were busy educating ourselves on how to process a claim. We were happy. We had less keystrokes with our new system, but nobody, unless you're the 1% of the many pharmacies I do business with or associated with, that know where their pricing formulas and pricing tables, who put them there? Where did they come from? How did they know what my mix was? So ask yourself that. Do you know? Pricing formulas that fail to protect margins against cost changes. Again, these levels are caused by usual and customary pricing that results in inadequate third-party reimbursements on non-preferred, non-formulary, and large number generics, DIR fees, GER adjustments and clawbacks, and another little secret ingredient in there that causes us to not succeed or get what we should be getting for our medicine is delays by PBMs in updating costs for several weeks after the items increase. That's by design, by the way. So the issue with regard to reduced reimbursement following catalog changes is fairly common and is created by PBM reimbursement strategy. Generally, what occurs is a lower price per RX overall. So on a multi-source generic, this is what happens. Different MACs, which obviously could cause different net reimbursements, will vary by PBM. So what you end up with is a complex grid when you lay all the NDC numbers over all the PBMs. Each one of them will be different. That's also by design. Wouldn't you think that one PBM would pay the very same thing as the other? It don't happen that way. Some of those items with different NDCs would be different copay tiers. So what you see is, and this is I just picked a $7 drug, you adjudicate it for $9. Or you got a cost of $7, you adjudicated the price for $9 with a $30 copay, of which what's going to happen to that $21? It's going to be clawed back. You say, well, we got clawback laws. Okay, well, they're going to figure out another way to get that $21 because all you were supposed to get is $9. Or you got a cost of $7, a non-formulary which applies UNC pricing with the customer paying 50% co-insurance. So my client, my patient at my pharmacy, because I got insurance, they think that they had the $30 copay that my insurance paid for it when you know, and I know, in reality, they didn't. Again, these will be different by drug and by PBM. There's no way that you have the time, the resources to chase down those drugs one by one because you can't do it. You don't have the time. What you can do is analyze your mix and adjust your pricing tables to assure that, number one, there is no under reimbursement caused by an inadequate UNC being generated. Non-preferred and non-formulary reimbursements are maximized to counter the effect of those prescriptions you can't change. So how does all that happen? We hear this big word all the time and it's used in conversation and computer talk, but I felt the need to let everybody know and put it out there. You know, it's not real until you write it down. In mathematics and computer science, an algorithm is a finite sequence of well-defined computer instructions, typically to solve a class of problems or to perform a computation. That's what it's all about, is the algorithm. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. Okay, we're back to the case study. So I wanted to show you the negative effect of cost increases on gross margins. And if we'll start at the left, we see the average cost of $30.75, an average margin of $8.70, the retail at $39.45, and the gross margin at 22.1%. Let's go far to the right. 2 years later, that cost of that product went up to $39.80. The margin's $9.55, and the average retail is $49.35. So in our minds, we're thinking that the retail went up, the cost went up, but look what happened to the margin. We went from 22.1% to 19.35%, like a thief in the night. How did that happen? The wholesale cost increased 29.4%. The retail increased 25%. See where I'm going? But the margin increased only 9.7%. The gross margin dropped 2.8%. This is reality. It's happening in your pharmacy. It's happening in every pharmacy, independent pharmacy that I know of. Unless you go in and you do a revision of your pricing formula tables, and that's necessary to offset the negative impact of cost increases. Now, Again, this has to be done by region and your mix. And when your system was put in, nobody knew what your mix was. If you did a startup, you had no idea what your mix was, but you do now, and you have something to work from, which gives me something to work from if that's something that you want to do. Next. This is a client of ours, and that you can look there at the RXs at the very top there. That's typically about 300 scripts a day. That's commonplace and a good medium-sized store. So let's look at his cost at the top. Look at the top numbers. His retail, his margins, margin is profit per out of, what is the margin? It's your sales minus your cost will equal your margin. He came to us in June of last year. His average cost was $67.08. His margin was $11.73, and his retail was $78.81 for a gross margin of 14.9%. We put his formulas in June and August. If you'll just look at the cost went up $1.20. Now, that was not a result of pricing systems. That is a result of the price of goods, the cost of goods coming from the wholesaler. And it happens in little increments, except through January, February, and March. It's usually when the major price and dramatic price increases take place. But let's look at August. $68.20 cost, margin $12.04, retail $80.24, and we got him up 14.9 to 15%. So 32 cents more in the average retail. But look at just how much the cost of goods went up. A whole lot less than that. So that's that 1 point of 32-cent dollar profit per RX, with the RX is at the top of 6,042 drugs. The impact of that was $2,066.74. And if his cost of goods stayed the same for the entire year, the impact would be $24,800. But let's look and see what happened. Let's move on down to February of this past. His cost of goods, you can see, has gone up over $1. His his retail is up to $84.28. It's $3.95, by the way. He's come from 14.9% to 18.6%. As a result, even though his cost of goods went up, his margin has gone up and his retail has gone up. Now, this product is designed to get your retail per script up. I have no control of your cost. Therefore, I don't have any control of your margin or profit. That's another segment. I do have some answers to that. However, right now we're just talking about your pricing tables and getting what you should get when you hit that submit button and adjudicate that claim, what you should be getting for that drug according to your zip code and your mix. So this past February, his dollar profit per RX, according to baseline, went up $3.95. His dollar impact for the month is $25,000. And if the cost of goods stayed the same since he came on in June, would be $309,000 a year. Now, you can look at that trend there between June and February and see that that changed throughout. And the impact is not as great. But we will fine tune those for 3 months till we get it right. And usually you don't have to readjust those until there is a significant cost of goods increase from the wholesaler, which is typically January, February, and March. However, I can't tell you what the wholesaler is going to do between now and that time period. It's been a unique year. We don't know what anybody's going to do anymore. But I can tell you this. As a result of changing the formulas in your pricing tables to fit you, your pharmacy, and your mix, will assure that you're going to get what you should be getting when you submit that claim. Now, Why is that, Robbie? When the management systems go in and put your system in, again, they don't know your mix. Do you think they pay for the same NDC in California that they pay for it in North Carolina, or the same thing in Wisconsin as they do in Louisiana? No. There are stores that are across town. We have clients that are across town, and it's there. You'd be surprised of the difference of payment for the same NDC. Again, we can't change each bin or each NDC, but what we can do is hit it across the board for that entity, the third party, the generic, the brand, and so on and so forth. Two things we can't do anything about, again, is the cost of the product. And we don't affect that. We don't change none of that. By the way, all this is coming out of your system that you provide me. At no point will pricing systems go in your computer. You provide me the information, and that's what we work from. Another thing I can't do anything about is your state Medicaid. That's pretty much in stone. There's some good ones and there's some bad ones. And so I hope that I've portrayed what I'm trying to get to you is that until you, next please, you need to adjust your pricing tables that fit you and your pharmacy and stop leaving money on the table. Do I save you any money? Not in this segment. The only thing I'm doing is getting you what you should be getting for that product, for your mix and your area. And we have a proprietary system that I know how to do that. So let me tell you how the process happens. You said, Robbie, I really want to do a free analysis to find out where I'm at. I'll get you to send me a report in Pioneer's sales summary by submission type. And QS1 is the audit report for the month. And I sit there and I do an analysis. I look at your mix, I look at everything, and I'll say, okay, this is where we can get you to. And you say, wow, I want some of that. So we fill out the NDA, we do all that. You'll send me your snapshots of your pricing tables. And then in about 2.5 weeks, after I've done my survey, it takes about 2.5 weeks, I'll come back and have your unique formulas specific for you, your pharmacy, and your zip code. I'll also do something that I don't know if another company does, but we do. We've got over 200 pharmacies that we do this for. Again, been doing it for 30 years. I guarantee you that we will achieve 90% of what I say that you will get, or after 3 months, I give you your money back. So that's how sure I am of it. And I hope you are as well.